Okay, what's up, guys? Arena Docs are back here. We're doing our Crimson Vow draft guide. This is part two, which is going to be the evaluation of the rares and mythics. And at the end, we're going to go through the top three for green, so stay tuned.
Jumping right into it, we have the Ascendant Pack Leader. 1 green for a 2/1. When it enters the battlefield, it comes with a +1/+1 counter on it if you control any permanent with mana value 4 or greater. And then whenever you cast a spell with mana value 4 or greater, put a +1/+1 counter on the Ascendant Pack Leader. This is a good card. You're going to get a lot of value out of it. I mean, a 2/1 for 1 at baseline is great. And it's going to be very easy to get it to be a 3/2, a 4/3. Green has a lot of high casting cost cards, in particular creatures. So a lot of time you're going to get more bang for your buck. Obviously not a bomb. This isn't going to take over a game. You'd be happy to take this pick one, pack one if there's not strong removal in your pack. But great card overall.
Yeah, I think, keeping in mind that it is a one drop at the end of the day and the high end is kind of middle of the road, I think it's a good card, not a great card. It could be, if you try too hard to build around it, it could be a trap. So I would say it's about middle of the road. I would definitely consider taking a premium removal spell over it, but I do like it. Okay, next we got the Cemetery Prowler for 1 green. We have a creature wolf, mythic rare. He's a 3/4 with vigilance. Whenever he enters the battlefield or attacks, exile a card from a graveyard, either yours or theirs. Spells you cast from now on cost 1 less to cast for each card type they share with cards exiled by the Cemetery Prowler. So the idea here is you want to, get him down, get him attacking, and exiling more and more cards as soon as possible. And the more you do, for example, if you exile 2, 3 creature type cards, then all the rest of your creatures are going to be nearly free. So I think this card is really solid. I mean, this guy we actually considered for our top three. His stats are decent. 3/4 with vigilance. That's fine. His ability, if he doesn't get removed, is going to end up saving you a ton of mana and will get you way ahead on board if you start casting creatures for, let's say 2 less than they're worth. You get down 2 in a turn and you get way ahead.
Yeah, obviously a great creature. I mean, a 3 mana, 3/4 vigilance, that alone you're happy to play it. That's going to be a strong creature. And then it can mana ramp you a little bit. Excellent card. Always happy to take it. You're happy to open this card and go into green. The one downside is the double green.
For sure.
To start off, so you're kind of committing yourself early, but it's a great card. I'd be happy to take it.
Totally.
Taking a look next is Cultivator Colossus. So 3 green and 4 for a star trample creature plant beast. So its power and toughness are equal to the number of lands you control. We've seen this with a lot of creatures in the past. And then when it enters the battlefield, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. If you do, you draw a card, and then you can kind of repeat the process, placing as many land cards as you have and drawing cards. In all honesty, this is likely just going to be a 7/7 trample. That's what you're going to get from it. Oftentimes when you're going to draw this turn 7, turn 8, you're going to play it. You're not going to have excess lands to get the second portion of this card. So I think if you were to evaluate it in a vacuum, you might think you'll get more card advantage than you will. 7/7 trample for 7 is reasonable, although there is the Bramble Worm in the set. That's a 7/6 trample reach for 7 that can gain you 10 life throughout the match at uncommon. And I'd be hard pressed to say that this is better. I think the Bramble Worm is what I would actually take over it if I was in a competitive draft.
Totally. So that's I think the take home message here is this guy's a bit of a trap. He looks fancy, he looks cool. He's a mythic rare. He's got a big scary picture, but at the end of the day, that uncommon, the Bramble Worm, is probably better in draft. So, okay, next we've got Dig Up. So for 1 green, you get a sorcery. And you get to, if you pay the 1 without using the cleave, you get to search your library for a basic land, reveal it, and then put it into your hand, then shuffle. If you do want to cleave, which is much more expensive and it costs 1 black, green, then you basically get a demonic tutor. Then you can search your library for any card and you don't have to reveal it, then you put it into your hand and shuffle. So the upside of this card is it has the duality. It can be the mana fixing if you need mana fixing, or it can be a card of your choice. If you're in a draft and you have 1 or 2 cards that are really outstanding in your deck and you want to find them, this is a fine way to do it, but it is very expensive to do that. I mean, having a double black and a green, boy, that really pigeonholes you into a very specific deck. That Golgari, I mean, I don't know what the Golgari archetype is going to look like. Overall, I would say this card is going to be worse than a premium removal spell, and you're not going to be very excited if you pull this as your pick one, pack one.
Yeah, I agree. That's a lot of the ways I evaluate cards is how excited am I to see this pick one, pack one? And I'm almost always passing this. There are a ton of common, a ton of uncommon. This set's power level is quite high. And so taking this pick one, pack one, I am very underwhelmed. Now, if this gets passed to me mid-pack 2, mid-pack 3, I have a third color I'm thinking of splashing, and this is helping me splash it just based on the green alone. If I'm green, blue, black, or green, blue, red, I might play it just to ease my splash, but I'm not super excited. If you open this pick one, pack one, you're taking something else.
For sure. You're going to get this. Let me tell you right now, what's going to happen is you're going to be late in a draft. You're already going to be in black-green. This is going to be like one of the 3 cards left in the pack, and you're going to say, sweet deal, I'll take it, and you'll be happy to play it at that point, but otherwise, not
Exactly.
really.
So looking here, we have Glorious Sunrise. 2 green and 3 colorless for an enchantment. And it reads, at the beginning of the combat on your turn, you can choose one of the following 4 options. Option 1 is creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain trample until end of turn. So a mini overrun effect. Very useful. You can get an alpha strike with that. The next reads, target land gains tap, add 3 force until end of turn. That's reasonable. At this point, you're already at 5 or 6 mana, so not as relevant, but could have some uses. Next, it reads, draw a card if you control a creature with power 3 or greater. Great card advantage, especially if you're on a stalled board. You can stall at the board and draw cards every single turn. And then finally, if you have nothing better to do, you gain 3 life. I actually like this card a lot. I think for 5 mana, getting recurrent overrun abilities or drawing cards if you have the stipulation, or gaining life, or if you take in one of those big creatures, 7-8 mana casting cost creatures, this is a mini ramp for the next turn. It comes with enough versatility, but I'm actually happy to take this. I think in comparison to a premium removal spell, it might be worth taking over it. I think this could give enough value that it's interesting to kind of force you into green.
For sure. Yeah, it'll pull you. It might not force you into green, but it'll pull you into green, Because, at the end of the day, the first ability is aggressive. The second ability is mana ramp. The third ability is card advantage. And the fourth ability is board stabilization. So with that kind of modality, and they're all good. None of them are just like a very weak, cheap version of that. So I like it a lot. I'm high on this card, for sure. Okay, next we've got the Hiveheart Shaman. So 3 and a green will get you a creature, a human shaman at rare. He's a 3/5 at baseline. So when he attacks, you can search your library for a basic land card that does not share a land type with a land that you control, and you put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Then later in the game, when you have 6 mana, activated ability where he creates a 1/1 green insect creature token, and you get X +1 counters on it, where X is the number of basic land types among the lands you control. Activate this only as a sorcery. So just at face value. So he's going to be 4 mana for a 3/5. That's okay. That's middle of the road. How often is this ability going to go off? So if you're in a 2-color deck, by the time you get to your 4th mana, you're usually going to have both types of mana down. It would be the exception rather than the rule to have, only, like let's say you're in green-black, for example, having played 0 swamps at that point, highly unlikely, right? So where does this guy shine? Maybe if you have a tiny splash of a 3rd color and you can really, he's your way of fixing, and then you get the additional bonus of fixing where you get larger tokens. But most of the time, it's going to be you get a 3/5 for 4 mana. You play that. You don't get to search for an extra land because you've already got both of your land types. And then for that 6 mana ability, you're going to get 3/3. So that's pretty good. Any limited card that can just build 3/3s out of nowhere is pretty good.
Exactly. You're going to play this card for that second ability. You're going to be able to, on board stalls, you're going to be able to build a large, wide board. You're going to build chump blockers who are 3/3s, who aren't really chumping. They could get it trades. And if you're playing a 3-color deck, you're looking at 4/4s. It's a reasonable card. I'm happy to play it.
Yep.
Next up, we have Howling Moon. 2 mana, 1 green for an enchantment. Reads, at the beginning of combat on your turn, target wolf or werewolf you control gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Obviously very situational. If you have a wolf or werewolf, this does something, and if not, this entire portion does nothing. Next is whenever an opponent casts their second spell each turn, you get to create a 2/2 green wolf token creature. A lot of times in draft, you kind of come into the top deck mode where you draw something, you play it over and over again. So this may not get a lot of use. I think you'll get lucky if you get 1 or 2/2 tokens out of it. Overall, I'm not super excited. I would take a premium removal spell over this, pick one, pack one, without a thought. And so, if you're already in green, if you already have some wolf and werewolves where you can utilize the first ability, and you want it to be night, so you're trying to punish your opponent from flipping over, you're happy to take this pack 2, pack 3. But this isn't something I'm looking to build around.
Yeah, no, I don't have much to add to that. I think it's just, it is what it is. It's going to be okay a lot of the time. It's going to be bad some of the time. Certainly not something you're going to really aggressively go after. It's cute, the abilities, it's thematic, but it's not that great in terms of competitive Magic.
Right.
Okay, next we got the Howl Pack Piper. So for 3 and a green, you have a creature, a human werewolf, which is a rare, and it's just a 2/2. So it cannot be countered. For 2 mana, you can put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. If it's a wolf or a werewolf, you untap the Howl Pack Piper and activate only as a sorcery. So let's evaluate first this face of the card in a vacuum without thinking about the backside of the card. So can't be countered. In draft, it's actually in constructed or draft, that is somewhat relevant. But at the end of the day, you only do get a 2/2. So really, if you want to focus on this side of the card, you want to be getting, let's say the Bramble Worm, which we gave the example of before, which is 7 mana onto the battlefield for 2 mana. That would be great. How often in draft are you going to actually have multiple wolves and werewolves in your hand where you can, go off? That's going to happen occasionally, but this side of the card in a draft format, not much to say about that. However, the backside, quite different. So the backside is the Wildsong Howler. This is a creature werewolf, which is a 4/4. Whenever this creature enters the battlefield or transforms into Wildsong Howler, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You can put a creature card from among them into your hand, put the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. So here you go. So this is the reason you play this card, is for the backside. In constructed, there's going to be some fun things you can do. You can build around it. But in a draft, you play for this backside. So this is a strong 4/4. It's good stats. And then it gives you that nice both card selection and card advantage. So that's excellent.
Yeah, I agree. The front side of this card in a vacuum isn't playable in draft. A 2/2 for 4 that you may be able to sneak something out if it survives a turn and you have mana. Not really hoping what you're looking to do. The backside though, 4/4, that's just giving you card advantage for days. This is going to take over a game. Right. So you're going to take it. You're happy to take it. It's a good rare.
Mm-hmm. And I should mention, this ability can go off multiple times. If you go day-night cycle, every time this goes to this, every time it transforms, you get that ability. So extra value.
Okay. Up next, Splendid Reclamation. 1 mana, 3 colorless. Worst rare in the set. Don't draft it. You don't need to know much else, really.
Yeah, unplayable. 0.
But coming up now is our top 3 green rares and mythics. Going to be doing the countdown.
Yeah.
So coming in at number 3 is...
We have the Hamlet Vanguard. So we did talk about this. There was a few other rares that we mentioned along the way here that we considered for this 3rd place. But overall, this guy is probably going to be your 3rd best in green. So for this guy, the Hamlet Vanguard, you pay 2 and a green for a creature, human warrior, who's a rare, who's a 1/1 at baseline with a ward of 2. He enters the battlefield with 2 +1 counters on it for each other non-token human you control. So this is not asking much. Okay, so we're only asking for 1 green and a 3 converted mana cost. And so it's pretty easy to get out. And then humans are everywhere. There's tons of them. There's all kinds of human werewolves. There's tons of humans in white. And then also in the green decks, there's going to be you get lots of humans in blue, black, almost anything that the green is going to pair with. You're going to have humans automatically without putting any effort. And that's actually really important to note, is you don't have to work hard to make him good. He's just going to be good. And then other times, let's say you do the green white go wide with a ton of humans, he's just going to be ludicrous. If you cast him on, let's say, your 5th turn when you've got a semi-full board and he comes out, like a 9/9 or something like that, it's just going to be insane. So I think, and the ward too, highly relevant. There's going to be a lot of 3, 4, 5 mana removal spells that want to get rid of him, and they're not going to be cheap. So I think he's great.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of the time he's going to come down as a 3/3 for 3 with ward 2, which on its own is great. I'd be happy to play that. If that was a common or uncommon card, I would be drafting that aggressively. And then if he comes down as a 5/5, 7/7, 9/9, it's just gravy. Great card overall, a lot of value. And you can put a lot of pressure on your opponents with this card. Mm-hmm. Coming in at number 2 is Ulvenwald Oddity. Helps if I could read.
Yeah.
2 mana and 2 green for a 4/4 beast, trample haste. Front side is amazing, right? So 4 mana, 4/4 trample haste. Outstanding. You would play this all day. Very strong. And then for 7, you can transform him into the behemoth. So this is an 8/8 trample haste. That gives all your other creatures +1/+1 trample and haste. There's a reason this guy's number 2 on our list for top green cards. He is going to take over the game. His front side is good enough. If the card was just the front side, I would still play him and I still rank him highly. The back side is just a game winner. You're going to push all the damage through. You're going to alpha. As long as you're not a turn away from losing, he's going to stabilize the board and he's going to win the game for you.
Right, and he doesn't even ask much of your team. That's the key here. You're like, he's an 8/8 trample himself, so they're gonna put 2 or 3 guys in front of him to block him. So even if you don't have much else, he's still gonna be fantastic. I think this guy's great. I have no issue with him. He's not asking too much, just 4 converted mana cost, and it's great. Okay, numero uno, the Brook Caretaker. Probably, if you guys have reviewed the spoilers and actually read this card, you probably could have predicted this because this is absolutely bananas. Wait till we get to the backside, though. So we've got the Brook Caretaker, 4 green for a creature, human, werewolf at Mythic rare. Thank God it's Mythic. And it's a 4/4 hexproof. Okay, good. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, put 2/+1 counters on another target creature you control. So it is another target creature. So again, as we always do, would I play this only for 6 mana? It'd be pretty good. I mean, well, I should say very good. Very good.
I was gonna say if this is all you got, I'd be thrilled to open this up, pick one back one.
Yeah.
And I'd build around it.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. The only downside I'm thinking is it has to be another target creature. That's not asking much.
That's okay.
6 mana. Yeah. Anyway, so great. And then the backside is just, I mean, you don't see cards like this every day. This is unbelievably powerful. So Hollow Henge Huntmaster. So creature, werewolf, mythic, hexproof, and it's a 6/6. So other permanent, not even creatures, but other permanents you have hexproof, okay? And then at the beginning of combat on your turn, put 2/+1 counters, which are permanent, on each creature you control. So, I mean, for 6 mana, I cannot think, like last set, I remember I was like, oh man, Tovolar's Huntmaster, it's a beast, I hate facing that. This just blows it out of the water. This is absolutely ludicrous in terms of performance. Like this is, in terms of card power in draft, like this is 5 out of 5, A+ tier 1 rare. If you get this in your 3rd pack, you're green now. End of story.
Yeah, your decision's made for you. If you ever get this, you pick it, you splash green. Green's your new color. You do what you need to do. I can't even imagine having this played against me and trying to figure out how I'm going to kill a 6/6 hexproof at all. And all their creatures are hexproof. All my premium removal spells that I've drafted so highly are now useless. This card's amazing.
And they can't target your enchantments anymore either because they're which is ridiculous. Anyway.
Yeah, great card. Deserves to be number 1. Probably one of the best cards for Constructed as well. Just great card overall.
You got it.
So that wraps up our rare and mythic review for Green and Crimson Vow. We are coming out with all the other color reviews as well. Come Thursday, we're going to be doing drafts and they'll be up as well. So stay tuned, like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Any feedback is welcome too if you want to comment. All right, take care, guys.